Hey,
Hey Mike, how's it going?
good. How are you?
Good, thanks.
Okay, I'm live on YouTube already.
Um,
So
did you see my text of making did when you sent me the invite on the drop down that comes up, did you click me as producer or just whatever was there?
I just wrote invite guests and then copied that stream and then sent it over.
So when you press invite guests, it should give you a drop down menu and you want to click producer for me so that if I'm on the call with you guys, I wouldn't show up, that you and Doug will be side by side. And even though you'll see me, but our viewers in Iris will not see me once it's fully recorded. So should I jump out real quick and see if you can
Yeah,
send me
I
an
just
invite?
I just resent it to you.
Awesome. It gave me join as producer, which is great.
Okay, cool. I don't know where Doug is. I haven't heard from him all day.
He was in. I almost joined the Google Meet, and it did say he was in that room. So
I emailed him the room. It's weird. Like the YouTube live stream is 5 seconds behind us.
yeah, it can be. I feel like sometimes that's why when I upload to YouTube, I always pull the iris. Not like I could save the YouTube one, but I feel like it's not as good of quality.
Cool. Okay. Let me see where he's at. Hold on. You think he's in the Google room? Let's check that. Yeah, no
He
one's in
was
there either.
he was as of like at like 4:27. He was in there.
He's not in there now. He's not here. I'm going to do the show by myself today. How are you doing?
I'm doing well. I was off today because I had a doctor's appointment back in Jersey this morning because I have to switch now that I live in PA, like find a doctor out here. So
Oh, you're in PA now. I didn't know that.
I moved December 1st. I moved to PA. So
Are you in Philly or are you just like right across the river?
right
Where are you at?
outside of Philly, I'm like Delaware County. So
Okay.
it's wild over here with the Eagles going to the Super Bowl.
What
Very
what's the
exciting.
name of what's the name of the town you're in?
Drexel Hill.
Okay.
I was
Okay.
talking to Michelle actually because she's from like close to where I'm living now, like where her parents are.
Cool. Cool. Yeah, I got a bunch of buddies that are from that area. All right, so we're good to go. Dougie, are you good? We're like
I am
live on
good.
YouTube, all that good
If
stuff.
if you can hear
Are you?
me, I, I,
I
I know
can.
the audio was bad last week.
It was just a little bit low.
Okay.
So I would bring the mic just a little bit closer to you if you
Yeah.
could.
I'm still having a hard
All right.
time like figuring out what shows on this new the new interface. Yeah,
Would
I'll
leave
you?
it here.
you'll always get the email from me like right before it starts because I have to open
Oh
the
yeah,
room up. So that's how it'll go going forward.
yeah.
And
I,
would
I
you
just
guys
meant
like
like
me to?
what part of
Sorry,
the
go ahead.
screen is shown. Anyway,
Oh, I can see everything. I mean, it's a little. If you can move your camera up like a half an inch, maybe.
yeah.
There you go. There you go. That's good.
Ceiling's
Perfect.
all messed up. Don't want to show that. All right, but
Oh,
we're winging this
ready?
one, right?
Yeah, we ready to go?
Would you like me
Sure.
to stay on or leave the room, or I can stay on and mute myself because now that I'm producer, Iris will not record me. It should be just you two side by side.
You can
You
hang
guys,
out.
you can do whatever you want. I just hit record, right? And then when I'm done, I hit stop recording. It uploads on its own, and I go to the YouTube and I hit stop streaming, and then
Yep.
you just take over after that. So you can bounce. We're good.
Awesome. Thank you guys. Have a great weekend.
Thanks,
Sorry.
Lauren.
Bye.
Hello and welcome to another episode of This Is Our Year. I am your host, Michael Kurland. Joining me, as always, is my partner in crime, Dougie Fresh. Douglas, how are you doing today?
It's Friday, baby. How we doing?
Just the Kyrie Irving, like,
Oh, yeah.
last minute fucking trade
Let's
request
get into
bombshell. Yeah, let's get
I
get
know,
into
let's
let's
get
get into the drinks.
Yeah, you're right. Let's first things first. Important things first, and it does seem like news drops at 3:30 on Fridays or 12:30 your time these days now too. So I like this time slot.
Yeah, it's much better. I feel like I can also drink, and guess who's also drinking today?
Alex, the baby.
This
That's
guy.
Mike.
Yes.
Well, yeah. In that case, why don't you go first?
Oh, I'm actually drinking Steadfast. It's 2018 cab from the Reynolds winemaking family, Reynolds Family Winery in
Is that
Napa,
of,
which is delightful.
Ryan Reynolds.
No, has nothing to do with Ryan Reynolds.
No,
It's
he's
not
not
Rex.
into that yet.
It's not Wrexham AC. I also opened this last night for dinner. I may have had about 6 or 7 glasses last night, but I will be drinking out of my dad off duty glass because I don't have baby duty right now. And I've already tasted this last night, so there's nothing really to get into. It's just a very delicious cab that goes well with Kyrie Irving trade requests. So,
And I'll make this work. So guess what? I got a beer, and it's always a good sign when the label is a guy smashing another guy over the head with a chair. I like where this is going, and
also pairs well with Kyrie Irving trade requests.
I'm pretty sure this is how you feel about the Nets in general, especially after the last couple of years. So these guys, I'm gonna murder this name. It's a Tripel though, 9%. So we're gonna have some fun on a Friday.
Oh man!
And it's Brouwerige West. No idea how to pronounce that, but they are up in San Pedro, near you. So
that's right down the street.
Maybe not too near you.
San Pedro's, yeah, it's
Is
right.
it?
It's right past Long Beach. It's 45 minutes away. It's like a lot of yeah. So awesome.
I was going to say, yeah, you name all your towns after saints out there, and I forget which ones are near the bay and which ones are down by you. So anyway, let's break some chairs, baby.
Yeah, let's cheers to the chair breaking. So, but Dougie,
Cheers,
this is cheers, my friend. I mean, this is par for the course for this team. It's become quite a circus.
It's Groundhog
and we haven't
Day.
talked. Oh, we just missed it. I don't know. Do we got
It was
6 more weeks?
but with it,
6 more weeks of winter.
The little bastards saw the shadow.
Because that's scientifically proven data that
It
works,
is.
right? So, yeah, man. Kyrie just dropped about an hour ago that he wants to get traded before the trade deadline, which is like next week, and he's demanding a trade, and he said he won't sign.
Is it next week? That seems
It's
early.
like February 9th. It's like 6 days from now.
Wow.
So I don't know. I just think it's stupid, and very, from my point of view, very transparent. He came back to work. He said, after his anti-Semitic slurs or whatever, however you want to react or read that to be ignorance or anti-Semitism or a little bit of both.
We never really unpacked that. That's when we were kind of off.
Yeah. So it was best that we didn't because, giving airplay to stupidity. I mean,
Right.
we got enough stupidity just with the way our teams play. We don't need to give stupidity to the rest of the people that play for them. And so, yeah, he came out today right before we started this and requested a trade. And I believe that it's obviously a ploy to get his max contract signed because this is basically the only leverage he has left is the trade deadline. And then after that, he can go into free agency or re-sign in the offseason. And Brooklyn can still give him the biggest deal and can still give him the longest deal. But, based on the previous 3.5 years that he's been here, I don't know anyone that's going to give him a big, long deal. So I guess him and his agent figured if someone wants me now that I demand a trade, maybe they'll come make a deal for me, and at least I can get somewhere where I can get that max deal. But I really think more than anything, it's just him saying, okay, contract negotiations probably aren't where we want them to be. So this is my only leverage, so I'm going to use it because he doesn't give a fuck about anybody but Kyrie. And he's proven that time and time again. So
it's constant. He's just a never-ending source of this stuff. But I do have a question because I think they did offer him a long-term contract, right? How far off is that from what he's looking for? Like how far?
He's come back since his suspension for his anti-Semitic remarks. He's played. He's played at an all-star level. He's been playing lights out. He's carried the team the last 8 games, and 10 games since KD's been out, and then Simmons went out, and then it's very reminiscent of Harden last year. But and I think Brooklyn, at some point offered him a max contract, but not at the max term. I think they offered him max dollar amount for 2 or 3 years, which is what they offered him last year too, when he wanted an extension, and he, said this is not his first trade request, and they offered him a max dollar amount, but just not max term. And why would anybody give this guy a max term? No one's given him a 5-year deal, and Brooklyn knows that. So I think what they want to do is align him with KD's contract, which has, I believe, 3 years left after this, and so they can have them both come off the books at the same time. Yeah. Right, which is what I would want to do too.
Yep.
Yeah, exactly. Then you have all that money come off your books, and then you rebuild, and then you can in 3 years the NBA is going to be a whole different place. They'll have they won't have all their draft picks from the Harden trade back, but they'll have, I think, only 1 or 2 years left of owing Houston anything, and you take it from there and go from there. But as far as I'm concerned,
teams hate picks, man. We'll get to that, but
yes.
I mean, I can't blame the man for wanting to get the giant contract. Obviously,
he's 31 years old. It's probably going to be his last big payday. I think what he's realizing
already. Wow.
Mm-hmm. And I think what he's realizing is he's created such a lack of a market for himself from his toxicity that right. I think if he got to the open market, he's going to find way less than what he thinks he's going to find. And I think he realizes that, and that's why he's kind of trying to push this max deal for as many years and as much money as he can, because it's probably his last big deal.
It's probably, he's not going to get that from anywhere he wants to go, right? I mean,
yeah, I don't know. I mean, everyone has this romanticism of him ending up on the Lakers with LeBron again, but I don't. The Lakers could sign him in free agency, and maybe that's the place he goes. But they certainly cannot make a trade for him.
They can't compensate you guys.
No, they have a first-round pick. I think that's it. And it's not like
got Russ.
Not touching that. Not touching that. But
that's
we have.
I think, or one more.
It is an expiring deal, but I think we're so over the cap that it doesn't matter. And I also think KD does not want to play with Russ ever again in his career. So I think there's that would backfire. Yes, but and I also think if we traded Kyrie, we'd have to trade KD because he's not going to stick around and play with the team.
It blows it all up. It does.
It blows it all up. And we're in for, we played Boston 2 nights ago and we got the crap kicked out of us. Boston also set a record for hitting a bunch of threes between Tatum and Brown. They hit 7 consecutive each.
You just got run out of the building.
We got run out of the building, but we also were down, 2 of our 5 starting players, and we had no size to rebound, and so we got. I mean, it was like 37 to. I want to say it was like 30-3 at one point in time in the first quarter.
Nice.
Yeah, it was.
It's like
it was over before
basketball games back in the day.
It was over before it started, which was probably a good thing because then they could play Kyrie limited minutes on the night and get some garbage time for some bench guys. But besides that, we're still in fourth place. We're only a couple games behind Boston. And when KD and Simmons and TJ Warren, who were all missing, come back, when all those guys with Kyrie were playing and Claxton, if they were actually clipping, they were out nipping at the Celtics' heels. So
do
I
you
think
still think you can match up with them in a series, though? I mean, they
if we're healthy,
suffocated you, choked you out last year.
Yeah.
Like, you couldn't do anything.
We couldn't do anything, but we also had, KD was exhausted from getting us just to get us in the playoffs. Yeah.
Right.
And the rest of the reserves last year were crap, and Steve Nash was a terrible coach.
Harris
and it was
down,
like
Simmons
super
was down.
Yes, and it was super toxic in the locker room. I think this year's a totally different story. I think Jacques Vaughn has this team
He's done a great job
doing X's and O's, doing what he's identified their strengths and he's played to them. And I think that, the team respects him. They don't think he's a TikTok, social,
Right.
whatever. And so I think things are all moving in the right direction aside from this, this is a leverage play, in my opinion. I think there's no way we trade him and there's no way he gets moved. And I think KD gets back. They try and win the whole fucking thing. And if they don't, we'll see what happens. We'll see what happens. It'll be an interesting offseason in Brooklyn. Maybe this is the year we blow it all up. But there's no reason for Brooklyn to blow it all up because they don't own their draft picks for the next 5 years. So being bad doesn't
segue. If you want to make
it doesn't help.
Yeah.
So I think we've talked enough about basketball because nobody gives a fuck about basketball.
Nobody gives a fuck about the Islanders, but we're going to do it.
Let's talk about it. Let's talk about Douglas.
We thought we were done with this stupid team last week, right? We're like, there's not going to be much to say if they stay on this trajectory. Maybe sell some pieces off, but they dropped like a rock in January, won 3 games all month. And they go and Lou strikes and gets maybe the best guy on the trade market out of nowhere.
Yes. I don't think it was out of nowhere. It had been talked about back and forth.
Sure.
I think that maybe it had cooled off, and we won 2 going into the break, and I think that
it's just interesting timing, right? Could we have done this maybe at the draft last year? Maybe not, but God, this team needed a score for 2 years.
Yeah.
Well, here he is, and hopefully it's not too late.
So let's talk about the trade, Dougie, because we got a lot. Depending on how you want to look at it, right? We gave up a lot. We gave up. Maybe we gave up a lot. Maybe we didn't give up a lot, but we certainly did not get his signature on an extension yet. So talk to me about how you feel about that. How does that? What's your thoughts on the trade of Bo Horvat, no extension? Right. Going into his walk year, he's got pending free agent for Anthony Beauvillier, Atu Ratu, and a first-round pick, protected top 12.
Well,
how do you feel about that?
It's been a roller coaster for me this week. When the news first dropped, I didn't like it.
What don't you like about it?
No, hold on. When the news dropped, I didn't like it. That was my first gut reaction, just because of the vibe around this team and everything. It's like, oh God, this is too little too late. We have 0 prospects already. There goes another first rounder. Atu Ratu is going to be an NHLer. We'll see how good he is. We're going to miss him. His name is fun to say, man. I'm going to fucking miss Atu Ratu. We went
like
to
a Star Wars
games.
Star Wars character.
Like we see him up here in Bridgeport, man. So, and Anthony Beauvillier has fallen off. So after about 24 hours, though, I came back from the ledge a bit, especially after reading up on Horvat a little more. Obviously, I was always aware from him. It's funny that Lou traded him or the pick 9 years ago that turned into Corey Schneider, and now he's coming back here. So Lou got he has to have some kind of connection to everyone he trades for. Cool. Vancouver's a mess, but I've heard that Horvat has been working with Adam Oates on his offensive game. And Jesus Christ, the guy has 31 goals in 49 games this year.
Yeah.
No one has scored at that clip in a New York Islanders uniform since Ziggy Palffy.
Zygmunt Palffy, number 68. Love that guy.
He was
worst trade
the only
ever.
guy on the worst team ever. And yes, that was one of the worst trades ever. And it could have been worse because they tried to trade him to the Rangers for even less. And Gary Bettman thankfully said, no, stop. Stop it, Mike. Stop it, Mike. Stop it, owners, John Spano, whatever. Let's not go back to that. Let's hope this works out better. Now, I quickly realized that I'm actually pretty confident that they're going to sign him, extend him. What do you think?
When I first heard I heard the news from you because I forget what I was doing that day, and then I started doing my research. I think my initial reaction was, I can't believe we did this deal without an extension. But then after about, I don't think it took me as long as it took you. It took me probably like an hour to be like, all right, every guy Lou's ever traded for has got an extension from. The only one that he didn't get the extension out of that he tried was Tavares, and that was he was only here for a week when that happened.
That wasn't him. I don't put that on him.
Yeah, I don't put that on him either. I guess I'm just trying to connect the dots in case someone's like, well, what about Tavares? And I'm like, okay. So I do believe that it's been talked about. I do believe maybe Horvat wants to come here and see the locker room before he just puts his signature on a bottom line. No, I can't blame the guy. But, Beauvillier and his bloated shit contract for the shit that he was producing for the last 2.5 years, bye. Like the guy, thought he was a class act.
He's my Viacone today because for a good reason, but he has fallen the hell off.
Yeah, he just hasn't been. Dude, he's lost his confidence. I watched a game when he was playing with Barzal, which he should have been playing with all year just to see, and he just totally missed the net on a tap in.
It's bad.
All you had to do was stick the stick out, dude. You could have scored, I could have scored, right? Like
it's almost like something psychological, but he loses every puck battle. He handles the puck like a grenade now. It's a long way from the guy who just absolutely ripped one in Game 6 of overtime a couple of years ago in the last game ever in Nassau Coliseum. Spoiler alert, this is the end of the show, but hey, cheers to Tito. We're going to miss you, buddy. And I'm sorry you're disunited with your buddy, Matt Barzal, your bestie, but off to Vancouver. So anyway, I figured if we were talking about a retool or a rebuild, Beauvillier was one of the contracts we had to shed.
Yeah.
So there's a little bit of upside there. That clears 4 for next year. By the way, the other guy they desperately need to do something with is Josh Bailey, but I don't think that's happening this year.
Well, we'll get to that in a second.
Sure.
But I think Ratu, though, maybe he turns into something great. I don't think he was going to be a first-line center.
No.
I think he's young. We burned his entry-level contract, so we lost a year of eligibility. So I'm not saying
now we see why, though. Because I was thinking about that. I was like, why are we doing this in an off year? There you go. He's being showcased. Which, by the way, I don't want to get off again, but that leads me to believe that maybe Sam Bolduc is being showcased as well. We'll see, because we could get to that later too, but I don't think Lou's done. Let's get back to Horvat, though.
Yeah, the guy has 31 goals.
And this is the 31st ranked power play. And he slots in that JG Pajot spot in the bumper. So he's not like moving like say Nelson or Lee or even Barzal out of position. Like he's going to slide right in very nicely on that power play. Mm-hmm. Is it going to work? I don't know, but let's fucking go. Can't
be any worse than it is now.
Exactly. And I'll just get to the end of the week where I am now about this trade. Let's fucking go. To realistically make the playoffs, it's going to be hard. They're going to have to go like 20-10 in their last 30 games. But hey, brother, let's enjoy it.
Yeah, and I think to your point, man, to go deeper, Bo Horvat, one of the best face-off guys in the league.
Yes,
they're gonna do which is part of why we're in 10th place instead of a little bit higher. We are terrible on the face-off. Pajot's the only guy.
Matt Barzal.
Yeah, Barzal is worthless. So they're finally going to move. From everything I can understand, they're moving Barzal to the wing, like I've been screaming for the last year and a half, and they're putting Horvat on the top line, Barzal on his wing. Who's going to be on the other side? We don't know yet, right? But now we have.
That'll be interesting.
It's all right, though.
Maybe Tarasenko.
Maybe Tarasenko, maybe not. I don't know. We'll talk about
Probably
the guys
Hudson
that are here
Fashion.
right now. Yeah, until he gets back from injury. And if it is him, he's a good gritty guy to put on a line with those other two guys. I'm not saying it's going to light the world on fire, but the other option is probably Josh Bailey. And I don't think anyone wants to see Josh Bailey even
the ghost of Josh Bailey
in the lineup, dude. No. Yeah, 100%. I mean, he's skating on the fourth line with Cizikas and Martin right now, and so to talk about Josh Bailey in quick, I do believe he will be bought out at the end of this year.
Yeah,
I
and
think
it's not a bad buyout.
it's finally at a point where it's not a bad buyout.
It's like 1 something for the 5 cap hit. That's a good. And so they might not even have to trade him. You're right.
Right.
Give
so
up
I think
asset to get rid of him.
I mean, yeah, I don't know who the fuck's trading for Josh Bailey at this
Arizona,
point.
If we give him like a bunch of picks, right?
I don't want to do that. I don't want to do that again. So I'd rather buy him out, get that cap back. We'll talk about cap, all this other stuff, but there is a way that we can get for next year Horvat signed to the extension and still ice a good team, above average team.
Yes. It's going to get more and more difficult as you have to sign Sorokin and onward.
Correct.
And there isn't going to be any help coming up because there's no picks. So it's going to be a weird team. It's probably look, fuck that. Let's get fired up for this year. Let's enjoy this.
Yes.
And if he doesn't extend and he goes somewhere else and we just drop these assets for nothing, that's probably the end of Lou. And
if that's the case, like as much as it sucks, because I will still be the fan of this team after this year.
I'm not going anywhere.
But if that's the case, I can't blame Lou because he's 80 years old and he's like, "What? I don't give a fuck about this draft pick because I'm probably going to be dead in 5 years, and this is the best shot I got, so I'm going to work with what I got." I do think you're right. I think we are not done. Whether it's going to get another defenseman or going to get a top line winger to play alongside.
I mean, you kind of need both. But what's cool is Vancouver kept some of the salary in the deal. So basically, Bo and Horvat washed. So they still have the cap room they've been accumulating all year, which is going to be like by the deadline, like an $8 million player or something like that, $6 to $8 million dollars to play with in annual salary because it prorates, right? I don't want to get into how that works. It's very confusing, but yes, how he's going to acquire everybody is going to be interesting, though.
Well, like you said, Baldock is, he's an AHL All-Star this year. He was a second-round pick. He's probably being showcased. He could probably slot in eventually as a middle six defenseman
and maybe do 4 as a piece. But Jesus, you're really scraping the bottom of the prospect pool here.
I mean, I don't know, but he's going to figure it out. And if he can't get anything done, he won't. But I think he's all in at this point. He's pushed all his chips in the middle, and we'll figure it out. And not having a first-round pick for like now 5 years in a row, is that what it's going to be? I think Simon Holmstrom was our last first-round pick.
He's traded the last 4.
Yeah. So and trading Ratu also, that was our top prospect. So
yeah, and all of them are defensible except maybe the Palmieri deal. But let Lou goes for it. He's 80.
And Palmieri was worth every penny in the playoffs that year.
In the first round or two,
in the first round, but nobody was worth anything
was found
in the second
Tampa.
round. Yeah, exactly.
So this could end up being Billy King, though. We might have a really long hangover. But I guess we're used to it.
Wouldn't be the first team that I've had to watch go through shit. And in like
a year or two, they might just be in a 5-year, like we're gonna suck.
The Arizona Coyotes of the East. And you know what? But at that point,
the New Jersey Devils of about 10 years ago.
But at that point, we will be getting our picks back. It's not like we're trading a pick. We're not trading future picks, right? And so hopefully Lou doesn't go years into the future now to trade. We've traded our 2023 now. Hopefully we don't trade our 2024. I'd be okay with trading our 2024 this year if we get something of good value, but
Timo Meyer,
whatever it may be, right? But if
Lou's wild and Lou's cooking,
but if we're not getting someone of that ilk, then you got to hold on to the future ones because those are the ones that are going to be, the lottery top pick guy overall. And that's when
what sucks if you want to do the doom and gloom thing is this is apparently a really good draft coming up.
I mean, we're not not built for that. We're a veteran team. Nobody's coming in and lighting this team on fire for being bad. tied to these guys for the next 3 to 4 years.
Yeah, and
So
I'll do some more doom and gloom. Why didn't you just do this last year with Fiala or DeBrincat instead of like when you're in 10th place with 30 games to go? And by the way, it's like 6 or 7 teams for 2 spots. It's going to be a fucking fight. They better start strong. Starting Monday at Philly. It's gonna be fun to watch, though. I'll get into it. Let's go. But yeah, they have Pittsburgh 3 times, Washington 3 times. They got to win most of those games,
and hopefully they do, right? And if they don't, we've still got plenty of time before the trade deadline. Yeah, we got plenty of time before the trade deadline to flip these guys.
You're just not going to get as much back as you paid, so
we'll see.
We'll see, though.
Yeah, I'm not really overly concerned. To your point, we're still in 10th place. We got a long way to go to get to where we need to be, and until they start playing these last 30 games, we're not going to know. And hopefully they come out with their hair on fire and they can start, putting some pucks in the net, because that's the biggest issue is we're back to a team that can't fucking score. And we used to be a team that couldn't score, but we had lockdown defense. Now we're a team that can't score and has mediocre defense.
Very suspect defense.
Yeah.
And,
so
I will say though, like I know we're hoping for an 8th seed, but this is a different kind of 8th seed than say the Steve Sterling years, where it's like you barely get into the playoffs and you get smoked. I mean, like who wants to face Ilya Sorokin and the New York Islanders in the first round?
Nobody.
I wouldn't if I was even Boston. I mean, we kind of, although we like survived their first like few attacks that series, and then someone got hurt. Like I felt like we kind of got outplayed that series, but got through. It's going to be even harder this year, obviously, but yeah, why not with Ilya Sorokin in net? So yeah, you want to get that guy in the playoffs.
100%. I think you make a great point, and I will echo that sentiment. We're a team that, and Lou, we could be that 8th seed that just gets hot in the playoffs and starts, picking teams off, and nobody wants to play us in the playoffs. That's for damn sure. If we get hot, no one wants to play Sorokin in playoff hockey. No. Nobody.
And what was St. Louis a couple years ago was an 8th seed, right?
I believe so.
And speaking of, keep an eye on St. Louis. Not only Tarasenko, who's been in trade rumors with this team forever, but there's a guy, I don't know if you heard about this guy, and I forget his first name, but his last name is pretty cool, Barbashev. Ivan Barbashev.
Yes, he's like the 4th line guy. I've
sort of. He's like a guy who can play everywhere. Like he actually put up 60 points last year.
Yeah, but he's having a shitty year.
Yeah, but he's having a shitty year, and he could just replace Cal, but he's got that playoff experience, and he does sort of know how to score.
Maybe Bailey for him works. Straight up. I don't know. I don't see anybody
back too.
I don't see anybody in the NHL taking Josh Bailey.
We're getting sloppy.
Yeah. There we go. Oh, my friend.
Here. Do we have any comments from chat? I'm kidding. I don't think we figured that out yet.
Oh, let's look over here on the live stream. Nope, nobody's watching.
God damn it! Jenny was supposed to watch.
I don't blame him. I don't blame him for not watching.
No.
Thank you for not watching, everybody. We are having fun. So
we might want to open this up as a happy hour every few episodes, where we just invite a bunch of people and it's chaos.
Get shit faced and make it complete chaos and talk about dude. Then we'll have Rosen in here and he'll want to talk about some crazy stuff.
Just kidding, Josh.
No, we're not. Oh man, so we've talked enough. We talked enough Nets. Talked enough Islanders.
Yes.
What do we want to talk about, Douglas? What do we want to talk about now?
What's going on, man?
The floor is open. The Super Bowl is this week. Should we talk a little bit about that? Probably.
Wait, is the Super Bowl in 2 days? I thought
it's next weekend, but
not really. I kind of hate the Eagles, you know that. So
no Super Bowl talk. Do you want to talk a little Giants football?
No. Let's talk about the games last week, man. I thought Cincinnati and Kansas City was very unfulfilling, man. Just like empty feeling at the end of that game, with all the referees and the. I don't know. Pat Mahomes is incredible, though. So
he played on one leg, and I don't know, man. I didn't watch it like every single play, hanging on the edge of my seat. So I don't know all the stuff with the refs that everyone's complaining about.
like do over downs and crap like that. It's
yeah,
like what
I
is
don't know.
going on? Like phantom holdings, like just flags out of nowhere. I like
Stupid.
it. I like it because it fires off all the conspiracies. And then, did you see Arian Foster was on like Pat McAfee or PFT or something?
He was on PFT, and
Yeah.
yes, I did actually want to talk about that.
Good.
How how do we feel about Arian Foster coming out on PFT and saying that at the beginning of every season in spring football, they would get a script from the NFL telling them where they were going to go?
I love it.
How do we
I
feel
love
about
it.
that?
I wish it was that simple, man.
I think.
Can you imagine a full conspiracy like that with like involving thousands of people, and they all pull it off flawlessly, and no one also talks about it?
Right. Right. I was like, oh, so Arian Foster definitely has CTE, which is really sad. And
I know, right?
now
But
him
wasn't he like a
and
poet or something too? Like he's kind of.
yeah,
I
he
like
was
him.
definitely he was definitely out there. He
He's a
was interesting.
thinker. He does his
Yes.
own research.
Yes. Him and Kyrie are flat earthers. So, back to that.
Is he
asshole.
really a flat earther?
I don't know. I'm just being dumb at this point.
Yeah,
Who fucking cares?
like, although, you can't script a whole season. Come on, guys, but you can encourage the refs to, get a certain outcome.
Sure. I don't know. I don't know if I believe in that.
There's so much money being thrown around now with the betting. Who knows?
Dude, that is, I mean, every sports site now is just bet. Now,
yeah,
ESPN, I mean, I'm not a fan of it either. Like, it's a lot. It's too much.
Yeah.
It's too much. And of course, I don't know if you follow UFC, but I do. And they had this huge scandal where there was a fight a couple of months ago, and this guy came out. It was on the undercard. It was, this one guy was slightly favored, and then all these bets went in on the underdog right before the fight went down, and the underdog like came out and won in like 30 seconds. It was like stupid, and
it was like blatant.
Yeah, and so they immediately like opened an investigation, and then it snowballed from there, and they found a trainer that was linked to like some offshore betting, and he's been banned. And obviously there's fights that do get thrown in the UFC, right? And Dana White's been very clear about it. He's all for betting on the sport because it brings so much fucking money and it brings so much attention, right? Because the people that are casual fans that want to casually gamble are going to watch because they have some skin in the game. And it's true for everything, but then it brings that loaded question of who's tainted, right? I mean, we already had Tim Donaghy was the referee that was, admitted to point shaving in the NBA. So we've had one of the four majors admittedly have point shaving. And I think that's...
And you can draw a direct line to him fucking over the Suns that one year.
Dude,
the Spurs.
I
love that Suns team. That's why I always remember that.
I don't remember that exactly. So what are you speaking of?
It was Nash Amare. Who was on that team? Sean Marion, probably.
Yeah.
It was Mike D'Antoni's team, and they're running up and down. And I'm really sorry if I'm misremembering this, but because there was also that incident where there was kind of a fight and a brawl, and like 3 Suns players took one step on the court and then stepped back, but they still all got suspended for like Game 7. I don't know if you remember that. But the thing about Donaghy was that when everything came to light and when he got sentenced, people just went back just to look at all the series he worked in. It was a lot of Western Conference finals. And but who knows? But like, I don't know why the NBA was interested in seeing the Spurs win instead of the Suns. Like, that's the part I wouldn't, other than maybe Donaghy was, had the pressure on.
Yeah, I don't think that was the NBA's choice. I think that was
right.
Probably some, deep, dark people, which is more good people,
which is more feasible or believable than Arian Foster saying, "Hey, there's a fucking script."
Right, because it doesn't make any sense. I mean, I guess every team is NFL is global now. Every team is marketable. Every player on that team is marketable, so it doesn't matter where they play, right? Even in Jacksonville, like you can say you still want to see if Trevor Lawrence becomes a Super Bowl winning quarterback. He's still going to be as marketable as Patrick Mahomes is now. So. I don't know. It doesn't make any fucking sense. It's like you said.
You're right. On the league level, I think they just let him play. Do you think any lotteries and drafts are rigged?
I mean, there's the infamous, David Stern
Patrick
frozen
Ewing.
envelope
Right.
with Patrick Ewing, because at that time the NBA was a bunch of fucking cokeheads and idiots running around, and he was trying to clean the league up. And they had just, I believe they had just had the Showtime with the Lakers and all that, and he had just taken over, and
Winning
he
time. Yeah.
needed
Is that
needed
coming
that. Yeah, oh, there's a season 2 coming, which is great. First season. If you haven't seen Winning Time,
Oh, I saw it. Yeah.
not you, our non-listening audience.
Oh
Yes.
shit! People watch this.
We're still at 0.
Fuck.
So,
My mom.
yeah, but if you haven't seen Winning Time, do yourself a favor and go binge watch Winning Time, because it was amazing. It was about the 79 Lakers and how Showtime came to
79,
be.
80.
Yep.
Magic's rookie year, right? And
Yep.
really
And
quick,
Bird's rookie year.
really quick, I enjoyed the first episode of Poker Face on Peacock, and the reason why is because Adrian Brody is basically like in like 1980s Pat Riley, like slick back hair, and like he's like a casino magnate in that. So check out the first episode; it's fun.
Is that the one that was written by Ryan Johnson that did Knives Out? And
yes.
It's Natasha Lyonne. Yeah, okay.
Yes.
It looks interesting because I saw Knives Out and then I saw Glass Onion, and Knives Out was great. Glass Onion, I mean, anything with Ana de Armas is great. And then Glass Onion was okay, but I think I'll give it a whirl. I've been looking for some shows. I'm actually
it's more
knee
like
deep in.
It's kind of like Columbo. Yeah,
really?
Dude, Andor is fucking fantastic.
Yeah,
but yeah, it's like a murder mystery show, actually.
Okay, I mean that's Ryan Johnson's
plus some gambling
thing. Okay, I'll check it out. I like it.
Yeah, man. Andor is incredible, though. One of my favorite shows of the year.
Yeah,
I just finished White Lotus finally the other day.
What'd you think? I watched the first episode ever, and that's with Nicole Kidman, right? Or am I thinking?
No, that's the other one in like Hawaii. I know what you're talking about.
Okay, then I've never seen White Lotus. How was White Lotus?
You should check it out, or at least season 2. I didn't do season 1, but
okay, I would never be able to do
Jennifer
that,
Coolidge and Aubrey Plaza. It's a really good cast, really good story. It's like 7 episodes.
Okay,
definitely recommendation.
Cool. Yeah, I like it. I've been trying to get back up to snuff on my Star Wars. I've missed Obi-Wan. I missed Obi-Wan. I'm like 2 seasons behind The Mandalorian. I never saw Boba Fett, and so
I thought you were all over this stuff, man.
The Mandalorian wasn't my favorite. It was just like, I don't know, the CGI was lame, and like some of the storylines were dumb, and like he would be surrounded by like 4,000 people and he'd still get out by like pulling a bomb out of his ass, and I'm like, what is going on, right?
He's got that special medal.
Yeah, so it was just, I don't know, it was all right. And then I was like, but it was Taika Waititi and Jon Favreau, so I'm like, I'm going to like this, right? I'm going to like this. And I just never really liked it. It was okay. And so I let all this other stuff happen. And now I'm like, I started watching Andor, and I was like, okay, this is good. This is really well written. And
like, were you into it back in like the 80s?
Star Wars?
Yeah. If you were, then you should. I'll just put it that way.
Yeah, I mean, I watched, I grew up watching it. I've seen every single movie that's come out in order. I mean, even the piece of shit ones that they did in the 90s or the early 2000s with Anakin, whatever that guy's name is.
Oh, we probably went to see one of those at some point. Like,
definitely with Jar Jar Binks,
South Norwalk. Yeah,
exactly. So I don't know, man. I'm all caught up on Marvel, and I got to jump back in on Star Wars now. So that's my new jam.
But that's why Andor is kind of cool, right? Because it barely touches on like the Force and all that Star Wars stuff of the story. It's just like what was going on.
Start of the rebellion, It's kind of awesome. So I like it. But we're way off topic here. But that's okay.
We're kind of open right now. It's February, man. It's
we don't want to
time of year.
Exactly. And there's no Olympics.
We haven't done our Mets episode yet. We should probably contain that into one.
Yeah, I think that'll be in the next, probably in 2 weeks. We'll probably do some Super Bowl and all that shit, and then pitchers and catchers, and then we'll talk a little baseball, the little New York Mets. They all. I will say though, they dropped the numbers on Darren Ruff, and Billy Epler came out and said he's crushed left-handed hitting for his entire career. Sure. We're not going to judge him on his 2 months in New York after the trade.
Let's judge him. Let's look up the numbers.
Oh, dude, he was terrible last year, but
He was.
he should
Well, I mean, on
be.
the Giants, he was fine, right?
Yeah, he was. He had a serviceable year on the Giants, but he was still had a down year on them as well. Which that's the only reason why I don't understand why we gave up so much to get him. But maybe it was
Oh,
because
I
he was
know.
signed. He was signed
Yeah,
for this year
it
at $3
must have
million.
been.
That's why we gave up so much to get him.
Which honestly is a decent deal.
It's a bargain. I mean, we just paid $6 million for Tommy Pham, who's probably going to play less than Darren Ruff. So
Well, yeah.
if Darren Ruff hits 25 home runs this year at $3 million, it's more than a bargain, right?
Yep, it is. But I'll also say these guys are a dime a dozen, and you can easily DFA him on April 30th, like Adrian Gonzalez or something, or Gary Matthews Jr. I mean, we've seen these
Yeah, but I mean,
roll in.
this guy can play
win
first.
the job, man. Yeah.
First, he can play first DH against lefties, play first, play left, and play right.
Would you stick him in the outfield at this point? I guess.
I mean, I wouldn't be my first choice, but I'd rather him play right or left than McNeil. I want McNeil at second base every day because every time he got hurt last year was when he was in the outfield because he plays with reckless abandonment for his body.
Yeah, let's keep him away from outfield walls. I agree with you on that. But you got to love that 152, 216, 197 slash line in 28 games with the Mets. Whew.
Okay, but look at his career. Look at his career versus lefties.
I'm messing around, but good luck, Darren. I hope you fight off Brett Beatty and Francisco Alvarez. Actually, I don't. I hope they blow up in spring training.
I'm going to tell you, Doug. None of those guys are making the team out of spring training. It's good.
I'll agree with you for the spring training. They're going to be up though.
I think so. There's going to be injuries
sooner than you think.
There's going to be injuries. There's going to be people that are not playing well, but
Darren Ruff.
I think we should make a bet on that, and then you cannot. If you win, and then not give me double or nothing on that bet, that'll be great.
John Mayberry Jr. is going to hit this year.
Gary Matthews Jr. Did I tell you that he works out at my gym?
Oh, nice.
Yes.
You have a lot of guys, right? Like, who's the quarterback?
Matt Barkley used to work out at my gym, but I changed gyms. But yeah, so Zane Beatles, I don't know if you remember him. He used to play for the Broncos, he was a left or a right tackle or something, or guard.
Great name, Zane Beatles.
Yeah, he's fucking humongous. He works out of my gym and
good guy.
And I mean, he's friendly. He says hello. I'm not the guy that's gonna be like, hey man,
how do you know,
I know who you are?
Beatles?
Because he trains with the same trainer that I do, and he's like, yeah, that's Zane Beatles.
Okay.
And then Gary Matthews Jr.
That's Zane Beatles from the 97 Broncos.
I actually did know that was Zane Beatles. It wasn't from the 97. It was probably from 2007. Okay. And Gary Matthews Jr. is very familiar. I remember when he played for the Mets and played for like a month. For like a month, yes. He's also very nice.
That was like late Omar period, right? When Omar
yes, and I want to be like, hey man, I'm a big Mets fan, but then I went back and looked at his records, and I'm like, I'm not going to tell him that.
No, that was like some kind of salary dump, right?
Yeah, definitely. He played like 1 month, and then we just cut him and said, "See ya."
Forget this.
Let's
bring up Kirk Neuenhuis.
Probably.
Where are we at? So Darren
I don't know.
Ruff, Darren
what
Ruff,
else do you want to talk about?
Hey, they signed DJ Stewart. Yeah, you're right. Maybe we're like Lou. We're scraping the barrel here with
We talked about the Jets last week and their quarterback chase. I don't think anything's changed on that front. We talked about the Giants and everything that with their offseason, initial thoughts on their offseason.
Like real quick. So the franchise for QB is $32 million or something like that, right?
Right.
But if you sign him long term, which is kind of scary, he's still Daniel Jones, but maybe you get him on a slightly cheaper deal and then you franchise Barkley. I do like, I saw this idea floating around Twitter and I'm kind of coming around to it, even though I kind of don't love this kind of thing. But I mean, the NBA did it with Larry Bird, the exemption. I mean, why not make an exemption for running backs? They really get dicked in this system.
You mean like their contract doesn't count?
If you're re-signing a running back, yeah, like a certain amount of their contract, you can like not have count or something.
I don't see that happening. I think the NFL raises the salary. The NFL salary cap is complete and utter nonsense, Doug. It's just a matter of how far down the road do you want to kick the can and when do you want to reboot. And the Giants can sign all their guys that they want to sign and then some, and create enough room this year, because this is the only cap that matters is this year. Next year's cap doesn't matter until next year, and then they can fucking do all the bullshit that they need to do next year, right? So this year the Giants did what a rebooting new GM would do, which was clear the cap. So now you have enough cap to sign whoever the fuck you want, and what I think you have $60 million without doing anything, right? So you're probably going to have
Jones might be half of it.
Yeah, but by the time you sign Jones, I'm sure you're going to also have created another $30 million in space for this year.
Kenny Galladay.
Oh yeah, easily. So
that's a good point. I just you've been asking me last few weeks, what would you do with
the Giants?
Barkley? Yeah, would you sign him long term?
Saquon? No.
Yeah,
absolutely not. I would. I after Le'Veon Bell, and I am not comparing Saquon to Le'Veon Bell at all. But after watching Le'Veon Bell completely fucking fall apart after getting his big deal because he got fat and he didn't care anymore.
A big deal, like he held out, right, and then just.
He got a big deal for a running back, and he got less than he got offered in Pittsburgh.
Yeah.
Well, he's also
out of the league. Oh, that's right. The Jets paid him. Yeah.
The Jets paid him, and he
forgot about that.
Didn't do anything. He tried to be good. Yeah. There was nothing to remember. He was just. Yeah. Not good. He would pass his prime. He'd take too many hits. He was slow, and we didn't have the offensive line to open up holes for him. So
Le'Veon had magic. He could dance around when he was young.
And Pittsburgh had a great line at that point in time, and he also doubled as a great receiver out of the backfield.
Exactly. But he was a different player, but
different player with the Jets. They had no offensive line, so he was running behind me and you, and there was no holes for him to get through. He needed holes to get through, and he wasn't good after contact anymore. He had taken too much contact, so
you couldn't put him between the tackles. You're right.
No.
Anyway, so you could franchise him for 10.1, Barkley.
No, I think what you're going to end up having to do is you're going to probably, unless Shane is really quick. And maybe he is, because I've never seen him, like, this is his first offseason where I think he's got a full offseason, right? Because he didn't come in until halfway through last year or a quarter of the way through or whatever.
It was like early January, actually.
Yeah, and so, he had most of it, but he's still learning his players, learning the team, all that shit, right? So now he knows what he's got, who he wants to keep, who he wants to whatever. Hopefully he keeps Martindale. I'm sure that's his first wish, right, for the continuity. And I think ideally they're going to want to keep both of them. And if you have to, you franchise one, and you what's the other one that you can tag them? Transition tag.
Transition, yeah.
And transition tag the other one if you can, and then at least you got them covered where you can match a deal and go from there. Yeah. But again, I would not pay a running back. I will never pay a running back more than their rookie contract, because they take so many hits, and after they take their hits, and the only time you're getting a running back that's on a second contract is usually a guy that's been a backup somewhere and hasn't taken all the hits, right?
Absolutely. So, and I like Saquon a lot, and I feel like this might be going to like a 5-year, $75 million thing. I don't know if he would take that though. He probably wants more, but like he's as you said, once they get mileage on him, they don't get paid, or it's not worth to pay him. It's not worth.
And he did come out and say that he would take less to stay.
He would,
but I just don't know what less is, and I don't know what he's getting on the
NFL contracts. Yeah, you're right. Like, but
what's he getting on the open market? Yeah, make it work. If you can make it work and it's not debilitating, go for it. But I just don't know how you get Jones and Saquon back without either overpaying for one or underpaying the other, or
I agree.
Whatever the case may be.
It's not an easy situation. I'm mostly sold on Jones.
I think at this point you gotta give him the contract because he had such a good year.
As well.
Who else are you going to bring in, man? Like, this is our problem right now. We're getting excited about a 39-year-old quarterback or Derek Carr.
Derek Carr was like super accurate at the Pro Bowl skills thing, man. Are you excited?
But he can't play. He's like 0-15 in 40-degree or less weather, and he looks like he's the lead singer of a metal band with like eye makeup on. Like, I don't know, man, and that's fine. I don't care about that. If he can be as accurate as he was at the Pro Bowl this week, then we'll see. But I don't care about any of that, man. I just want to win. And I think that's what gives you your best chance as well to win, is to bring Daniel Jones back and move
I
forward with
agree.
that continuity with Mr. Dayball.
Mr. Dayball.
Yeah.
And or Dayball. And what pick did you guys end up getting?
13th. So we're hoping there's 3 offensive tackles, and then there's an offensive guard that may also be first round worthy. I think one of those 4 will fall to us, and
Nice.
we'll grab one of them.
You think that's a pretty that's a slam dunk? They're going to go with on the line.
I mean, I don't think it's a slam dunk, but that's what I would do after Spudweiser. Okay, I like it.
Yeah, I know.
Hey man, I know. I love it. I love that you're open to trying new things.
Beer drop. Just random beers show up sometimes, and I drink them.
I love it. I love it. So that's all I got today, Dougie. What do you got? Anything else?
February 3rd. Not really. Oh, when are we going to extend Pete Alonso?
Hopefully before spring training starts, but we'll see.
Right? Yeah.
We'll see. I mean, Squirrel came out of nowhere, right?
It did.
So
started with a dinner with Stevie, apparently, or something like that. At this point, I just read headlines. I don't even read the articles.
Yes. Well, because that's all. It's all clickbait, right?
It is.
Click on our show. All right, Dougie. It's been a great show. What do you got to say?
It has, and again, a shout out to Anthony Beauvillier of Icon Diaz. Anthony, best of luck in Vancouver. We'll never forget that Game 6 overtime goal to end the era of the Coliseum correctly with a win. Fort never lose, never die. Cheers, Mike. Cheers, Anthony. Bye, guys.
See you next week. Okay, hold on one second.
Nice. So did we find